WPCA meeting Thursday, December 17th, 6 o'clock on Zoom. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim, you have the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. If you could please take roll.
Okay, Mr. Parati,
Present.
Mr. Carroll,
Here.
Mr. Abagani, Mr. Beach,
Here.
Mr. Scannell,
Here.
Mr. Wilburn,
Here.
and Mr. Urbano.
Here.
We do have a quorum of the authority present.
Excellent. Okay. First item on the agenda is public communications, of which there are none. So what we will do is, well, actually, before we start, I just, there's two things. Number one, I think the WPCA would like to wish Tom and speedy recovery. Tom had open heart surgery. How long ago? 7 days?
Who's this guy?
7
Who
days ago.
Who are you talking about?
Tom.
Mr. Scannell.
Me.
Really? Tom,
I know. What am I going to do about it?
how you feeling, okay?
I'm feeling very well, thank you.
Doesn't
Good.
look any different.
That's
No, he doesn't. He's still got that great personality.
You might have to cut back on that wild lifestyle, though.
well,
Yeah. Okay. And with that, I think we'll go right into the applications. There's 4 of them tonight. We haven't had this many applications in one night in quite a long time. We could start with first one is Cuttle Avenue, Cook Hill Road, Warren and Earl J. Kurtz. There is some supplemental information. Hopefully, authority members did get, which was the note from Don on this, and Anthony, any other information from this? You have the floor.
For the record, Anthony Fazzone. I'm a lawyer in Cheshire, Fazzone, Ryan, and Ricciuti, representing the Kurtzes. The property in question is located at the corner of Tuttle Avenue and Cook Hill Road. The Kurtzes house faces Tuttle, the proposed house faces Tuttle Avenue. The boundary between Cheshire and Wallingford is the western edge of Tuttle Avenue in that area. We are asking tonight for Commission's vote of feasibility for the Kurtzes to hook into the sewer system in Wallingford. There's in your packet, I have written to Wallingford, talked with Eric Kruger over in Wallingford. There is a letter and I believe a follow-up email between Mr. Kruger and Don Nolte saying that Wallingford would accept the sewer and that the applicant would have to follow the Wallingford regulations as far as hooking up is concerned. And Kurtzes have, and I've talked to Ryan McAvoy, who's also on, and he just talked with him, and he's going to look into the design work. Once that's all set, we have to do an intermunicipal agreement. One was supplied to us. It may have come from Mr. Kruger or Mr. Nolte might have gotten it. It's, again, a single family home on Allison Avenue that was allowed to connect to the Wallingford system. And they had an intermunicipal agreement, and was not too long ago. And looks like that form will be fine. Situations are pretty much exactly the same. It is up to us, to me, to prepare the intermunicipal agreement, have that approved by the town attorney and by the Wallingford Public Utilities people. There, the connection would be using a grinder pump up to the manhole. There's a manhole right in front of the Kurtz property. Wallingford has no issues with grinder pump.
So we get a lot of background information on this, Anthony, because these are very rare and infrequent for us. I'm going to rehash what Don had commented on this, and Dennis, if you have any comments too, we'll be willing to take them now. But basically, there's no issue with the town of Cheshire doing this.
John, I'm not picking you up. You're mumbling and I'm losing you periodically.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you put your head down, we lose you.
You do? Okay, well, I'm reading.
Okay, thanks. I didn't know that.
Well, hold on a second. This might be better. I'll try it.
Is this any better, Marilyn?
Better, John. Very good.
Okay, well, we'll go with this then. All right,
Okay.
so what I was saying was I was going to rehash the letter from Don Nolte. And then if Dennis has any other comments from an engineering perspective, we'll listen to those. But basically, if approved, the drafting of the legal document between the three parties should be made the responsibility of the applicant. And in the addition to that, the payment of any applicable Wallingford plan reviews, inspections, legal connection, annual sewer fee, uses, and costs should also be borne by the applicant. The only other thing that I want to address on that is the town of Cheshire has in the past been assessed a cost for a other municipal upgrade to a facility, specifically town of Waterbury. So what we would need to do is to find out if there are in that agreement that any upgrade costs be not levied to the town of Cheshire, be levied to the applicant that is making this a responsible intermunicipal agreement. Dennis, do you have anything from your side?
John, I do not. That was the same thing I discussed with Don, just that there would be no cost to the town of Cheshire if Wallingford, well, they're upgrading their plant right now. So
Yeah, 20 years then.
Yeah. So no, and just some sort of letter from Wallingford stating that they've reviewed the engineering plans and they comply with the town of Wallingford's sewer installation requirements.
Okay. Yeah. So, Anthony, you okay with that?
Yes, I actually think there may be an email. Don may have asked that question about costs. And I think he got an email back that said it would be assessed against the homeowner.
Okay. All right. So, I don't think we need to dwell on this too much. Are there any other questions from any other authority members? Is that Tom, Jason,
No
No.
questions.
Steve, Jim? All right. Well,
I'm good.
No,
Okay.
pretty straightforward application. I would propose we all support.
okay. We do need to support it, but I believe we would need to make a motion to I believe to accept the first phase in the steps of this process.
Is it our standard feasibility agreement?
I believe, Anthony, you had reviewed this and you thought that we should be presenting a feasibility acceptance. I mean, we have the application in the packet, so I believe we'll just act on that.
Yeah, I don't know any other way to do it.
Yeah, I think this memorializes it doing this way too.
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
Well, I will make a motion to approve the feasibility application of the Tuttle Avenue and Cook Hill Road application presented before us tonight from Lauren and Earl J. Kurtz Jr.
We'll second that motion.
seconded by Tom. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That vote passes unanimously by all those voting and present. First one done, guys. Anthony, yes?
And Andrew Quirk said he couldn't get on. He just sent me a text.
Okay,
That's with respect to the third item,
Third
Wallingford
item.
Road.
684?
Yeah.
All right, does he need to get forwarded the invitation, I guess, or?
he's got the invitation. Does he want to try, does he want to call in and see if he can connect that way? He has the invitation. I sent it to him.
Mhm.
Does he, what seems to be the problem, Anthony, so we
I
can get him
don't
on?
know. He's getting, please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon.
Ah, and I don't see him here. Let's see.
Oh.
There we go.
Is that good? Success?
Perfect.
All right, sounds like a plan. Okay, anything else on that, Anthony, from your side?
Nope, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move over to item B in our agenda, which is the 687 South Main Street, 687 South Main Street LLC. And this is a application. And if you want to take the floor, Anthony, and then Dennis, you could comment on it from your side.
I'm not on 687. That should be John Malone.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. John, where are you?
Yeah, I'm here. No
Here you are.
problem. So this is an application for the for feasibility to connect the that vacant parcel that was known as the underground gas station for years at the corner of Higgins Road and Route 10. It's about a 3/4 acre parcel, and the proposal is to put 7 housing units on the site in accordance with the infill housing regulations.
Okay. Dennis, from your side, why don't you summarize your letter here?
Yeah, sure. So, so we reviewed the application. There was just a couple of things that came up. I think Don also commented on some of these as well in his supplemental memo. The first one is to just get a better understanding of the ELUR and why, because the reason why you can't go gravity is because you're restricted to, your excavation is restricted to no more than 4 feet below grade by the ELUR. So I just was hoping to know some more about that. And
Dennis,
why is that in place?
For those who are not acronym environmental, to define the ELUR.
Environmental land use restriction. Sorry, John. Sorry.
No,
sorry,
that's
folks.
fine.
So that was the first item. The second one was if you are going with grinder pumps, how many, where will they be located, and how will they be powered? How will there be emergency power in the event of a power outage? The third comment was right now you show the force main discharging through the intersections of Higgins Road and South Main Street, which was recently paved. So I had suggested to possibly consider routing that force main to a new manhole on the sanitary line, which is in the shoulder of the road. And that would eliminate the need to excavate, deal with all the signal wiring, DOT signal wiring for crosswalks and lights. And also the need to mill and overlay that entire intersection. So that was another comment. And then just some more information on the water meters. Will be a single water meter or individual water meters. And then details on the abandonment of the existing subsurface disposal system.
Okay.
Those are all good things. And so I guess, Dennis, from our perspective, feasibility, we're at feasibility. I believe
sorry.
that. Yeah. So those are so from our perspective, this is, these are the things, John,
Yes.
that upon feasibility acceptance in the final plan, you would be able to address these for the authority.
Correct.
Yes. Yep. And I'm happy to try and talk about them now, but there are good comments and all things. We always want to consider alternatives that might be more efficient or more effective. So we're happy to look at each one of these and see if there's an option that we didn't consider. But yes, right now we're looking for feasibility. And if that works out, we'd love to sit down and hash out all the alternatives for making this the most effective design possible.
And the 4-foot restriction going below, and is that because there's some type of a barrier that's been put down from the environmental cleanup, or?
John, you probably know more about this than personally, but this was Leonard was the LEP on this, and apparently they worked through this with the state, and they say that they can't. There's some diesel fuel contamination, and because of that, they've agreed to not have any excavation deeper than 4 feet below the existing surface. Now, practically, we know that diesel fuel is not everywhere on the site,
Right.
but that restriction applies to the entire site. So the way we designed it is that we're kind of bringing in just enough fill, about 2 to 3 feet of fill, so that we can, even with footings, we're not getting below 3 to 4 feet below existing grade, and it does make it difficult to get a gravity connection out to Route 10. But again, we can look at whether maybe we can get those on the upper side of the site in by gravity and only have one small grinder pump for the units in the back. There might be options that we can explore with, as we look at.
All right, so I'm not environmental at all. I mean, Jason, you would have probably a better idea of this. Would you be able to opine here, or help us out, help us understand?
Yeah, there would be a potential option. I don't know what the timing looks like for the development and whatnot, but the property owner could reach out to the Connecticut DEP and ask for a temporary release of the environmental land use restriction to allow for deeper excavation. And the department would likely require some sort of a written plan to manage the polluted soil below 4 feet and that type of thing. So that said, it takes some time, which would be a factor. You'd want to do a cost benefit and time benefit analysis to determine if it makes more sense to go the grinder pump route versus getting a temporary release from the use restriction potentially.
Something to think about if you wanted to go that route, John. I understand. I do also know that dealing with any of the regulatory agencies is not something that's the most quickest of response. So I understand that from your perspective, from your side too.
Okay. Now, again, we're open to anything. Right now, we took the path of least resistance, which was working within the environmental land use restriction and the criteria associated with that. Where I quite frankly wasn't aware there was a sewer in the shoulder somewhere. Our plans don't show that, so I'll have to do a little more research because we definitely don't want to go into the street with anything.
It's on your plans.
It is.
Yeah, it's downstream of the manhole. The manhole you're proposed to tie into. If you follow that sewer line, it enters on the backside of the curb line.
Okay, well, that's definitely something we'll look into then, Dennis, because that I hadn't noticed, quite frankly.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
And this is for a design, so that's exactly the way the process works. So,
Okay.
all right. Any other
Yeah, so right now-
questions? Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
right now, we're just looking for feasibility so we can move
Yep.
forward with planning and zoning action.
Okay. Anything else from any of the other authority members?
Nope.
Jason, thank you for that piece of information. All right. Well, beyond that, there, the comments that were from Don and Earl. I mean, Dennis, you had pretty much overlapped with them. So we have the paperwork in front of us for the feasibility. I don't personally see any problems here. Is there anybody who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for feasibility for extension of public sanitary sewers to the proposed residential infill development at 687 South Main Street.
Second motion.
Seconded by Tom. Okay, any other discussions? Just make sure, Maryland, that 687 South Main Street LLC is the property owner and the applicant, I believe.
I would do that, John.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Other than that, no other comments or questions. Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Aye. All opposed. The vote passes unanimously by all of us virtually present. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice holiday.
Yeah. You too, John.
You too, John.
See ya. Okay. Freeze up another box in the square. All right. Next one on the item, we have 648 Wallingford Road and Talmadge Road, Earl J. Jr. and Lauren A. Kurtz in the application here. Now, is there anybody, Anthony, this is you, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so aside from our notes, let's let Anthony go first and give us any.
So, actually, the applicant is Lovely Development, Inc. Their offices are in Plantsville. And then the property owner or owners are Earl J. Kurtz Jr. and Lauren A. Kurtz.
Okay.
This piece of property was before the authority a few years ago. The authority granted extending the sewers into this area and approved a feasibility approval for, and now I'm losing track, but I think something like 24 houses in a cluster subdivision on the property with the sewers extended out to Talmadge Road, all by gravity in that prior application. This application is for 40 units of age-restricted units, which means at 55 years and older. In the estimated flows, we've used the same number that I believe the commission uses for 4-bedroom single-family homes. It is, the system is entirely by gravity. Again, it goes out to Talmadge Road. There's 2 alternates proposed, and oddly enough, Wright Pierce favored one and Don Nolte favored the other.
Oh, boy.
But
It's a fist fight. They're going to have to fist fight it out. That's all.
that can all be resolved.
The design.
And I think we'll hear from Wetlands about one, and also the one that does not involve crossing the road. We'd need to get an easement from the Talmadge Crossings Homeowners Association because it would just cut through a corner of the open space. Andrew Quirk, I believe, is on. from Cratchit and Jones. He can answer more of the, can answer any technical questions that you have or comments. As a general statement, there was nothing in the Wright Pierce comments or in the in Don Nolte's comments that jumped out at us as being objectionable and would all be resolved in the final design stage. There is a part of the approval to extend sewers in this area were one of the considerations was the ability to connect the through an easement to I'm losing track of what it was now, but the adjacent street to the east.
Is that Sir Walter or
Charles.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah.
And there is Kurtz's do have an easement to get to Charles, and the final design would show how the sewer would be extended there and connected through the elderly or age 55 property and system and out onto Talmadge Road. I think there would have to be discussions at the time of what would be public and what would remain private. Again, Andrew, are you on?
He's
I
here.
am. Yep. Andrew Quirk here, professional engineer and principal of Cratchit Jones and Associates. I think Anthony described what we're looking for in terms of feasibility very well and covered everything. The only things I would add is that the project would be served by public water as well. I think that was a comment in some of the review letters. We have not yet designed that, but it would be on public water for the project. And we did show two alternates for the connection on Talmadge, which we'll work through at the design phase. They both have pros and cons in terms of wetland impact and impact to the pavement of Talmadge Road. So there's benefits to each. It's just a matter of for everybody what's going to work best. But it certainly either way would be feasible in terms of the extension.
Okay.
Just
Just
any question.
yeah. Just for the authority members that were not here for the last iteration of this parcel. Steve, you were here. Tom, you were here. And from what I remember, you correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but this was the property that on the original conservation map was not listed as sewer capable or to be sewered. And what we had done this last go around was we modified our map. We sent that to the state of Connecticut to be updated for make sure that everything was proper for sewering this parcel. Steve, is that right?
That's correct. We basically took this parcel, which was island, basically, which was sandwiched between two sewered areas, and for some reason was indicated on the original conservation and development map as not sewerable.
Yeah.
And we agreed as a body to modify that to include it as sewerable.
Okay, so that's that's it. So that would be,
which I think makes
it made sense.
Makes this application very simple.
Makes it very simple, makes it easy, makes it pretty benign. Dennis, anything from your side?
No, everything was covered.
Okay, perfect. So again, there are some comments from an engineering perspective, and upon the authority's acceptance of this from a feasibility perspective, those would get addressed in the design process. Any other questions or comments from any of the authority members on this specific application?
Yeah, this is Jim Urbano. Obviously we're going to look at this. I mean, that's a lot of units crammed into a small piece of property, and you know, I guess we just need to make sure that it's not going to affect anything else in the area. You know, obviously that's our due diligence.
Yeah, and that would be the engineering response to make sure that the hydraulics, pipe sizes, everything would work on this.
I mean, you know, putting a project like this into a residential neighborhood, I mean, yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
So from our perspective, what the authority has the, capability of doing, that would fall under planning and zoning from their perspective. So
I understand that. I'm just
want to
saying.
make sure we stay within the confines of our responsibility. So, okay. Any other questions or comments from any of the other members? Jason, anything from you? Zach, anything?
Nothing here.
No.
Okay. Well, does anybody like to make a motion for this application for feasibility?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for feasibility 648 Wallingford Road. What other detail do you need?
Lovely, apply for Lovely Development Incorporated.
For Lovely Development Incorporated.
Second.
Seconded by Jason. Any other discussions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I'm part of the Talmadge Crossing Association.
Okay, so one abstention then. So 4 was John Parati, Tom, Jason, I assume Zach and Stephen.
Yep.
And an abstention from Jim Urbano. So the vote passes. Okay. Thank you very much. And then we have one more application on here, which is the last one, East Mitchell Avenue, Strathmore Holdings, LLC. Ryan, is that you?
It is, Mr. Chairman.
We need to be formal.
Okay,
You have
John.
you have the floor.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Ryan McAvoy. I'm a licensed professional engineer at my London firm, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Strathmore Holdings. Here with me tonight is Dean Fisk, who is a member of the applicant. This application is for feasibility to connect 56 residential apartments into the sanitary sewer system. Our properties consist of 5 current pieces of land at the east end of Mitchell Avenue, which is a short road just opposite Stop and Shop on Highland Avenue. The properties total about 5.5 acres in size, and in combination, they're eligible for what planning and zoning refers to as the affordable housing regulation for section 44A.8 of the zoning regulation. So our 56 units are going to be spread out over 5 buildings, each with either 10 or 12 units per building. And we're proposing to direct the sewer flow from all 5 buildings to an existing sewer interceptor, I suppose, on the west side of the site, adjacent to Cheshire Hillside Village. The sewer is a 12-inch clay pipe that takes some of the sewer from Highland Avenue and brings it down to the Honeypot interceptor further to the east. We're able to serve all these proposed buildings by gravity with 8-inch PVC pipe. We did receive some comments from staff, both Mr. Nolte and Mr. Devert. And we don't really take any exception to them. I think we'd probably have to work a little bit with Mr. Nolte to determine where he might want an additional manhole, if this is would in the future potentially serve some of the existing houses on East Mitchell. But beyond that, I don't think we have any design issues from what they've suggested. We will, because of the size of the pipe and the age, perform a video inspection of the sanitary sewer prior to your final approval. Of course.
Do we know what the age of that is, the existing clay?
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. I presume it's probably fairly original, so probably in the 60s with the other aspects of the town sewer system, but that's a guess.
Tom, do you remember when that was built, Tom?
In 42, no.
Okay.
I would also offer that we are proposing to, not that it's so much tied to the sewer, but as part of this, we are proposing to extend East Mitchell Avenue and put a cul-de-sac at the end of the road. Right now, there is none. And if there is a additional manhole placed within the cul-de-sac, then I think per Mr. Nolte's comments, that a portion of the sewer could be controlled by and maintained by the town to allow for potential future connection from other properties. In terms of sewer feasibility flow, we provided you with two different flow estimates. One is on every unit within the development allotted 206 gallons per day, which came to a total of, that was
8301.
That was 11,000.
11,356.
11,536. Consistent with another application that you approved on Hazel Drive under a similar regulation, we did also provide what we believe to be a more reasonable or more likely flow estimate from the units, which brings it down to about 8,163. That estimate is based on 50 of the units being two-bedroom configuration and 6 being one-bedroom. I have been in discussions with the applicant and his architect, and they believe they might be able to get all 56 as two-bedroom. So under that scenario, our flow using population estimates and daily flow per capita would be approximately 8,645. So the reason why we prepared those two different estimates, again, is to be sort of consistent with how the authority reviewed the 50 Hazel Drive application. But we are prepared to, if it's preferable, to seek approval for the 206 gallons per unit.
Okay. Dennis, from your side, anything else other than the information, or if you can just kind of maybe do a rehash of your 48 members?
Yeah, sure. So it sounds like there's no exception being taken to any of the comments. Really, the biggest one was the sewer main was shown as 6-inch, so it needs to be 8-inch. The televising of the sewer, and then working out the details of. I guess I had a question if the sewer main was going to be private or if the town of Cheshire is going to have to maintain it. That was not clear to me. I didn't know if there was going to be a homeowners association or anything like that.
Well, this is going to be privately owned. Although,
okay,
I think if we incorporate Mr. Nolte's comment where he's looking for perhaps an additional manhole in the cul-de-sac, that could theoretically allow for other properties in East Mitchell to connect.
Okay.
That a portion might be maintained or might be taken over by the town. I think that's probably.
So would that be then we would have public, a private section, and then public again, where it would actually our sewerage would pass through a private from public to public? Would that be the case?
No. If we do, go with Mr. Nolte's suggestion,
the whole thing would have to become public, right?
No, it'd only be from the point where a manhole would be placed in the right of way to the
Okay,
connection into the town sewer.
okay,
So it would only be, it'd only likely be I'd say ballpark half of the system would be a town sewer. But, I think that's something we could probably work out at final design.
I think what I'd look for is that it'd be very, very clear
Of course.
for whatever the different scenarios are, and that we make sure that those are documented, Dennis, so that we can make sure, because
Yep, correct. Yeah, I guess the only other thing I had was in the write-up, apparently there were 2 single-family homes on 2 of those 5 parcels that were previously demolished. So just when we do the television inspection, we should make sure that those laterals were properly abandoned and plugged or capped, or I know we don't have any information on those.
I don't believe
so
those
we'll-
houses were connected to the sewer.
septic.
Okay,
Because they were on, as I mentioned earlier, there were 5 properties that this project is on top of today, 5 current properties. And the sewer only lies on 2 of the 5 properties. And those houses that were demoed were not on the properties where the sewer is today. There's
Okay.
no easement that we were aware of. So we suspect they were on septic. So.
Okay. Yep. And then lastly, I wasn't aware of the previous application you mentioned where they approved the Metcalf and Eddy, if you will, method for estimating flows. I'm just
Yep.
trying to stick to the town regs. So that'll be up to the WPCA. So.
And again, I think at the time of the Hazel Drive application, that was a little different than this because it was primarily studio and 1-bedroom units. We did have some 2-bedroom units, but I think Walt at the time basically said, well, 206 gallons per unit in a studio is a little bit of a stretch. So the actual approved flow from that project ended up being probably less than half, I believe, of the 206 gallons per unit would have otherwise allowed for. So
sure.
Again, we're closer in this 11,000 versus 8,000. So I don't know if it's as critical, but I did want to be consistent with how we did a separate affordable housing style project in town.
Sure. Great. All right. Thank you. I'm all set, John.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. So no more questions from any of the authority members?
Ryan, I had if you could fill in the blanks here a little bit for me. On East Mitchell, I know there's only a handful of structures currently on East Mitchell. 2, I think you said, have been demoed, so that's probably 3 or 4 left there.
3.
So presumably we have public sewers going partially down East Mitchell at the moment.
There are none. Hillside Avenue connects to this 12-inch line.
Okay.
Hillside Village, rather. The 2 houses at the corner of East Mitchell and Highland Avenue, Route 10, I don't know if they're connected to sewer or not, but if they are, they'd be connected out to Highland Avenue.
Okay.
Because there is no sewer in East Mitchell presently. And that leaves 1 house on the north side of East Mitchell, which I believe is connected to sanitary sewer. And then 1 house, which has sort of a sandwiched, I guess, in between our lots for this development in Cheshire Hillside Village, which I believe is connected to the 12-inch line that we're seeking connection into. So there might be 1 property, 1 or 2 maybe, on East Mitchell that could theoretically benefit from a public sewer, but I'm not 100% positive which units are connected and which are not.
Okay. And this project is all newly developed areas. It's not any currently existing structures aren't being replaced. Is that correct?
No, there were just 2 houses at the end of East Mitchell that have been demolished. So really, we're sort of starting fresh.
Okay.
I have the map up of the existing area and the overlay of the sewer system on it, if anybody would want to look at it. If not, doesn't matter. But basically, there's
I'm
a
good.
sewer that goes all the way right through and down along the wetlands in the back there. Okay, any other questions, comments? All right, hearing none. Anybody want to make a motion for feasibility application for this?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for feasibility for the extension of public sanitary sewers to the 677 South Main Street for the project known as and the applicant's name Strathmore Holdings.
Second.
That's not the correct address. That's
I'm sorry, you're right. That's the applicant's address. The project address is just East Mitchell Avenue, excuse me.
Okay, so Marilyn, you got that?
I got it. Yeah, I caught it as well. I was saying, where's that address coming from? Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Somebody's paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
All right, so we have a second by Jason, is that correct? Second by Jason, okay. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, members, and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Ryan. Everybody,
Christmas.
thank you. Okay, that's 4 applications we've had in,
Good job.
yeah,
I know, trust me now.
haven't had that much in a long time. All right, so what do we have next on the
Superintendent's report.
superintendent's report?
Got
No
here?
well, there's no projects. Superintendent's report, Scott is not present. He just gave us the flows for this month, and you can see they pretty much have tailed off here for the last couple of months, but which is surprising, but no big deal. Engineering report, is there anything from our illustrious contract town engineer?
Now I'm starting to get the hang of this, so thank you
Okay.
for bearing with me. But the only thing I have was you had asked me to sort of keep track of what we're doing, so that when you get a bill, you know what you're paying for. So I had sent a spreadsheet of all the applications and everything that we have been involved with, whether it was a formal application for a sewer feasibility, or we did review one special permit application for 687 South Main Street in conjunction with the sewer feasibility study. So this spreadsheet just provides you with all the work that we did in the last month for the town of Cheshire. And there was one, I did answer questions and research on a property on Fieldstone Court. There was no formal application submitted. I just went back and forth with Don via email. So that is also documented on this spreadsheet. And I'll try to provide this updated one for each meeting.
So, just from my perspective, Dennis, when we first started here, it was like, all right, we're gonna get into this slow, we're gonna move along, and then it's all of a sudden like, holy cow, we got 4 applications flying at it, and I was nervous, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be trying this out like, right away.
No, I know. I got a little nervous too. I have to say, it was like, I got all these emails in like 2 days, like 4 applications, and it was really close to the meeting. So I just dropped everything and I reviewed them all so that we had at least the memo for the meeting. But Don is doing a good job of steering me.
And I guess Walt stopped by, and I think he helped out a little bit too. Good.
Yeah, so he did send me some information on the prison flows for when that comes up in the spring, I think. So in any event, that's the only thing I have to report is a report of what I've been working on. So hopefully that's helpful.
That's a good report.
All right, thanks.
All right, any other questions for Dennis?
Hey, Dennis, I can tell you, your comments on the applications are right on the money, perfect. So, the spreadsheet with the hours and everything, I give you 2 thumbs up on the job you're
Great.
doing. So
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, thank you,
Yeah, yeah, good job. See that?
thank you.
We will
Got
pay.
the- We will pay the bill. Okay, moving on to number 8, new business. Any new business? There is none. Old business. Old business, there's none. Oh, one thing I will say from an old business perspective, I was looking at our regulations, this is for the authority members, and I did notice that when you look at prohibited discharges, it specifically mentions in our regulations hops.
Oh,
And so I know that the last applicants, were removing, the hops as they get through, and there was some other aspects of maybe residuals getting ground up, but that's something that we want to look at, I guess, or just be more knowledgeable about it. So
what are you saying? That it was prohibitive?
the sewer regulations prohibit. I'm gonna
guess it prohibits untreated hops. Now, they're making the proposals we have, they
Yeah,
are
they're
going through
removing
a
them.
process to
Yes.
clean them before they deposit them in the system. But
Yes. And it's so the sewer regulations, I'll just read you exactly what it said here. Give me a second to find it. So it says solids or viscous substances may cause obstruction to the flow in the sewer or other interference. These are prohibited. Not limited to grease, garbage, particles greater than 1/2 inch, animal guts or tissues, paunch, manure, bones, hair, hides, or fleshing, entrails, whole blood, feathers, ash, cinders, blah, 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 blah. And it says spent hops is one of them also. It's so specifically called out in there, which I was surprised. I never knew that.
Okay, so are they sending spent hops into the system?
No, from what I don't think we never received a full design on that, did we? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember, Steve? I think the screening process was removing them, and it was removed to what we thought our satisfaction.
yeah.
But I just want to, but it was specifically called out. So we got one of the things I think, I guess, Dennis, from my perspective, is for you is some of these applications we're going to, we have our specifications here. And I think just making sure that you're knowledgeable about some of the small nuances within our specific sewage regulations. We should make sure we're up on that.
Yep. Yeah, I did go through them, but yes, I will admit I need to spend some more time looking at them.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so that's it. Old business, that's it. We can go over to number 10, which is approval of the minutes meetings. We had the public hearing last month along with the regular meeting. The public hearing was a very dynamic event. We have the minutes for that.
John, we can't break these two up because the clerk who did the meeting put the public hearing and the regular meeting minutes as one document. So
All right, we can approve one document.
We'll approve one
Yep.
document, right? Okay. All right. So we
It'll
have
just be combined minutes.
combined minutes. So it was the public hearing and regular meeting minutes. I don't believe there is anything else on here. I make a motion to approve the unified minutes here.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the unified minute meetings of November 18th, 2020.
Okay, seconded by. Okay, are there any edits to the report?
John,
Mm-hmm.
on page 2 under F, new business,
Yep.
action on 2021 sewer rate, line 3. It says the WPCA decided, although $5 is not it should be bid increase, not bid, BID.
Suffer is not a bid. Yep, that would be a big increase. The commercial use would suffer bigger impact, was probably stated given the year 2020 has been no increase. Yep, not a problem. So that should be edited there. Bid is not big. Thanks for catching that. Any other edits? Everything else looks fine, along with all the other edits that Marilyn summarized in here. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Vote passes unanimously. Okay, so I think that we got a lot done today. It's great seeing Tom again,
Thank you.
although we saw him last time, but he's still,
Great seeing you guys, believe me.
Well, on the right
Okay.
side of the earth.
yes, he is.
It's close.
Don't say what. And so our next meeting is in January. Like to wish all the authority members a great holiday season. Those that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, or any other celebrations you may have, I wish those also to you. I do believe, Anne, we will be virtual next time also, or is that
Yes.
a
We're still on virtual until building restrictions are lifted. So I assume,
until the vaccine comes?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a smart thing to do.
Well, the vaccine's coming. That it is. All right. Anything else from any of the authority members? Dennis, anything from you? Marilyn, anything from you?
I actually do have something. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to make the meeting longer, but we went through those 4 applications pretty quickly. I'd like to compliment you because some other WPCA meetings I go to, we'd still be on the first application right now. But, in
Nobody
any
wants to
event,
hear me talk.
I had a question on flow monitoring, and when does the WPCA, has it ever required an applicant to conduct flow monitoring if there was a concern of the capacity of the line? And the reason I'm asking is I generally discuss that with Scott when I'm reviewing these, and I have, but if you had a sewer application, a feasibility application that came in that you were concerned of the capacity of the line, and you require them to do flow monitoring, I wanted to know if that's something you have done in the past. It is something that I always look at because other towns I work for, their lines are 3/4 full in certain areas, so they don't want anyone else connecting.
From my perspective, I think what we've done in the past is we've looked at what the maximum flows are, and what they could be in the area. I know that we've done flow monitoring in the past at a variety of different portions of our system. And the last time we did that purely for I&I investigation. And we were looking at, sump pumps and other types of, non-compliant potential sources of clean water. And I do believe that information does still exist. Walt had started putting it in. I think he started putting in a GIS system so that we had a good representation of what they are. As far as requiring an applicant, I don't remember in the many years that I've been doing this to actually ever do that. Steve, you were here longer. You have any?
Yeah, I don't have any recollection of asking, putting that burden on any applicant. To what John said, though, I know from an I&I standpoint, there are funds available, various funds available for.
Else? Anyone?
John, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
So I noticed in these applications, there was a few things that came up about these sewage grinders or sewage pumps.
Yep.
So because some towns have this, does the town of Cheshire have a regulation for backup power when they have these sewer regulations? Because I know some towns require an automatic generator, some require a manual, but do we require?
Well, I don't believe that, and again, it would be in our sewer regulations. Has been our opinion that we try to discourage any type of a force main private pump that has to raise flow to get it to where it will be taken over for gravity. We always try to push as much as possible for a gravity connection. But I don't believe there is any requirement. The reason why we've been pushing to have that included as part of the application is no matter what, if there was a backup, when they lose power, the first thing the homeowner is going to do is going to be calling the town. And it's very difficult when the town has to say, it's not our problem. So I don't believe there is any requirement, Zach, but maybe Dennis, can you just validate that for us?
Yeah, I'll have to look.
I'll just look real quick for, I'll search generator and there's no generator word in our regulations. So.
Because at one point in the town of Middletown, you could have a portable standby generator, but they had some backups due to power losses. And now Middletown changed to a full automatic.
With an ATS and everything?
If you have, yes, if you have a pump.
Yeah.
Something backs up and we have a week-long outage, are they going to blame the town?
Yeah, exactly. So
They will.
They will. And that's a problem. So I think what happens is, I don't know if we'd want to go that stringent as far as, an automatic, full-blown system, or, whether they just have a, outside connection that at least powers that pump. I think that's the right thing to do, especially if they have a well too. So
just because you had so many in tonight's meeting, there was quite a few of them.
Yeah, there was. All right, guys.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment for this last meeting of 2020 and close the book on 2020.
Close the books on 2020.
Yes,
I'll second that one. I will second that one, and we will be looking forward to 2021 with a newfound eagerness with our sewer department.
We should drink some of Jim's 60 bottles of wine.
Yeah, Jimmy, how many have you gone through so far?
He's got
He's lying down, so maybe a lot.
It looks like he's had one right now.
I told him the 60 bottles. Yeah. Yes. No, I probably have about 56 right now, but yeah, we're getting there.
Well, Jim, I'm glad you're feeling better too.
Work on that, Jim.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Continually.
Hey, Tom, feel better, buddy. Okay.
Thank you.
I hope it wasn't my pizza that put you under.
I did question what was in there. Right.
Have a good Christmas, everybody. A nice holiday.
You
Jason,
too.
I'll send you an email about getting those things over to you sometime this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate
All
that
right.
very
All
much.
right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian.
See ya.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.